see all of you fine folks. Hey, Rabbit. Good to see you. Good to see you. Hope everybody's having a good time tonight. Be nice and chill. Nothing, nothing drastic going on. The world hasn't ended. It's always a good thing. Always a good thing. Sorry about that. A little bit hoarse tonight. A little bit hoarse tonight. Hey, nerd. How you doing, brother? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. No, we're doing wonderful tonight. So we've got probably about two more episodes left of this, unless I pull a late night tonight, which I don't intend on doing tonight. That would not be a good thing. But of the John Wayne Todd tapes, I have about two more episodes left of that. I could probably pull most of those tonight. And then of course tomorrow I'll be doing the Disturbed series. Or not the Disturbed, but the Federalist Papers, which will be a rather good one. It'll be a continuation. And then I'm just sort of chilling for the rest of the week. I managed to get David his piece sent out to him this morning. Yeah, this morning. Just trying to remember if it was this afternoon. It was this morning. I got that sent out to him. So I want him to get a nice review of that and see what he thinks of it. And if he likes it, then continue on in about 5 weeks whenever the parts arrive here. I have actually ordered the upgrade, so it should be here whenever it gets here. So when it gets here, it'll be doing good. Hey, Suzanne, good to see you. Doctor said you have to get more sleep. Yes. Yes. Listen to your doctor, get some more sleep, get some rest. No, it's good seeing you, Suzanne. Really good to see you. But yeah, so I need to get more rest myself. I can't be doing the super late night streams as much as I enjoy it, because well, it wears out Rabbit. I can't do that to Rabbit. Rabbit's too awesome for that. Besides, she's all over the damn place. She is just everywhere. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere. That's right. That's right. Damn it. Listen to the doctor. Doctor knows what he's doing. Hey Jude, how's it going? How is it going? How's it going? Oh yeah, we've got a good one for tonight. It's winding down, and I'll be pulling up some of the more well-known cults coming up. So that those are going to get a little spicy, a little interesting, a little bit of a deep dive into some of those. So, some of those can be really, really, really disturbing. There's a lot going on with those, and hopefully I can make those work a little bit better. Bring up some stuff that I'm sure a lot of you probably already know, and maybe dispel some of the myths surrounding that. So that'll be always interesting. Always interesting. But without too much further ado, I think we'll pull up a little bit more of this John Wayne Todd stuff, and looks like we've only got just a short more to go on it before it hits down to that very last bit. Am I doing that? There we go. Oh, you can see my lovely face. Not lovely, but you can see my horribly scary face. No. My lovely wife will be heading out of town tomorrow. So if I'm running a little bit late, that's because you have to make sure that she's sent off with a full belly. Hey, Melissa Jane, Good to see you. Good to see you. Captain Have Fun. Good to see you, brother. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all doing well. But yeah, so like I said, we've got about 2 more episodes left of this. I'll try to push through 2 episodes tonight because this is these each are going to be about 36 minutes. But I'm hoping to, kick those through, make a good series of that, and make it interesting. But without further ado, let me go ahead and kick that bad boy off.
But I went in there 2 in the morning, got up to the door and it said closed 12, midnight. I said, well, Christians are funny people, maybe. And I pulled on the door. It opened. I went inside. There's one guy in there, toolbox out and thing, bent over trying to fix this Coke fountain. See, the Coke fountain had broke just about the time they were going to close, and he decided to stay behind and fix it. That's the way the Lord has to treat some Christians. He has to break things. Oh, can I help you? And I said, yeah. He looked at me and says, yeah, I think you need some help. They had to see me. I was with some brothers the other day, and one of the girls that I used to live with in witchcraft walked right by the car and looked right in the car and didn't even recognize me. That's what I mean. When the Lord changes you, I believe He changes you. And I walked in, I sat down, he started witnessing to me and got nowhere with his witnessing. And finally, I got to the point that I was in witchcraft. I told him about it. After he caught his breath about 20 times, he picked up the phone and called the pastor. It was only 3 in the morning. And that'd be very weird. Nobody ever calls the pastor for prayer at 3 in the morning. So he called the pastor and he explained. He says, that's Lance Collins. We were praying for him. Well, and they started acting, I think, the way that they must have acted when they prayed Peter out of jail and he arrived at the door. They couldn't believe that it was taking place. So he said, well, I'll call up a bunch of people and we'll start praying for him. You go back and you witness. He witnessed some more and it wasn't getting anywhere. He was doing a standard witness and it just wasn't reaching me. I just wasn't receiving what he was saying. And finally, he stopped and he said, Lord, give me discernment in this matter. Give me knowledge. Give me a scripture of your word that will do something that will break the devil's hold on this man.
Read any scripture.
Boy, this guy's weird. Here he goes talking about the devil again. And he got 2 Timothy 1:7. And he opened it and he read it to me. And I gave my heart to the Lord. It was too good of a promise to pack up. I spent all my life, in fact, I guess from the time I was 5 years old, in a world of absolute total fear. And also all the guilt. In fact, my mother, at that very moment, was in a mental hospital. She is so barred out on barbiturates now, even though she's out of the mental hospital, that she doesn't even know who she is most of the time. And it's because of the fear and the guilt of the things that she's done. And when he said the Lord would make my mind new and take away the fear, I said, that's it. Show me now how to get it. And we knelt down and we prayed. And I accepted the Lord, and I said, Jesus, I want your forgiveness, but can you take the guilt and the fear away? And I got up out of there and talk about no fear. I went out there and almost got myself killed because I didn't have any fear. I still don't have the fear today. And if anybody should have a fear, it's somebody that came out of the Illuminati. I don't have the fear today, and that's why we're having our rehabilitation center now.
Yeah, it's hard to have fear whenever you're a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. No fear there. No.
Trying to take the fear out of people's lives and teach them that Jesus can make them anew. We have a center that we're opening tomorrow. It's very funny. The doors of the center aren't even opened yet, and it's already filled. There's cars coming from the East Coast. In fact, the second most powerful witch that has ever been saved was just saved last April after I left the East Coast. Her testimony is almost similar to almost everything I've given today about the Rothschilds and the politics and Charles Manson and other things that she knows about. And she's coming out here to go through rehabilitation. We're going to put her through just as fast as we can and get her out and get some tapes made on her and let the world know there's another nut out there saying the same things. But we've got, like one girl moved in last night. As we were moving the furniture into the place, we moved one for rehabilitation in. And it'll just fill up. In fact, we'll probably have to start believing now for another 6 months for another building. But these buildings are necessary because when a person's saved out of the occult, out of the Illuminati, a contract is placed upon their head where professionals, not amateurs, are looking for them. The Summit has some very good professional people. And they'll send them after to kill you. So we try to guard these people and protect them for a period of time so they're able to stand on their own 2 feet. He said, well, what about me? Well, I had some loving Christians around that had sense enough to hide me out till I was able to come out of it and was able to stand on my own 2 feet, know how to protect myself and stay alive and so on. My wife, when she was saved, the same thing was done for her. And now we're believing that hundreds will get saved because the fear will be taken out of their lives. So we ask you to pray about it with us. And right now, this car is going to be leaving in a little while come across several thousand miles from Maryland to California. About 3, 4 people that have been saved out of the occult will be in the car, along with bodyguards. They may seem to think that's kind of funny, except there'll be 100,000 people trying to collect the bounties on those kids between here and there. It's not funny at all. It'll be a miracle if they get here, but I serve a God of miracles. And I ask you to pray that that car gets here with all of its occupants in absolute safety, protected by the blood of Jesus. Okay, we're going to go for some questions and answers here real quick. I'm sure I probably stirred a few up in your mind.
Stirred?
If you'll just lift your hand, the man will walk back with a microphone, take the question. Back here, the lady in red. Or brown? Yeah, brown.
Oh, she's lady in red.
All the way in the back. Lift your hand up high so you can see.
My question was, it's not a question. I know what, when he was mentioning revivals and things that saved him, I know they do because my daughter is married to a minister and I was saved, and I know that Jesus can take out devils and demons and on revivals and things, and people can be saved because I was.
Okay, let's stay with questions so we can.
That was horrible. Just stay with questions. I want to answer questions. All right, I'll see you in a minute, Jude. Hey, Jude.
Think right here, young man, real quick. Stand up so he can see you because he can't see your hands walking around so much. Could you explain the Rothschilds? The Rothschilds? The Rothschilds are a family. Many of you, I'm sure, have seen the 3 little globes that hang around the pawn shop as the emblem of a pawn shop. That comes from 3 acorns off the Rothschilds family crest. They were moneylenders to begin with in Austria, and they became, which they are now, the richest family in the world. They are not considered humans by the occult world. They're considered gods. They believe that gods, sons and daughters of Lucifer, dwell in these human bodies. And when the humans die, the Rothschilds die, they go into the next Rothschild born. And they're not to be treated as men, they're to be treated as gods. And believe me, they are treated as gods. Their word is absolute law. That's the Rothschilds. They created, they founded the Illuminati, and many people can't understand why a family of Rothschilds 200 years ago, it's actually 3 because they existed 100 years before their birth date, would create a conspiracy for world takeover that they never hoped to see fulfilled. Well, that's because witches believe in reincarnation, and they believed that they would be alive during that time to see it happen. This may seem funny to your ideas, but when you're raised in it, it's absolute truth to witchcraft people. Right here.
Witchcraft people.
I'm going to use this, just a minute.
Friday in chapel at school, you said people that were involved in Hollywood and music and things like that were somehow involved in witchcraft. Do you mean that they were actual practicing witches to be popular today, or did they just have to go along with it? And also, does that include things like all forms of entertainment, such as different parts of the country music and Broadway in New York and things like that?
Well, there's a scattering of it through country music. I guess probably the leader of it in country music is a man named Tom T. Hall. But in rock music, you must be an initiated witch, a coven member. That means you're a minister, okay? To be, and anybody in the last 2 years that's come on television must be an initiated witch. 3 of the major soap operas on TV have now made it a fact that to be a member of their staff, their television, actors and actresses on these 3 major soap operas, you must bear the scar of initiation to be on, okay? That's why the leading one, The Young and Restless, is so popular, okay? Now, if any of the new shows coming on, you can just check them off. Those people belong to a witchcraft or Satanist brotherhood somewhere.
So he was just talking about this guy right here, Tom T. Hall. He was wrote 12 number one hit songs, with 26 more reaching the top 10, including the number one pop crossover Harper Valley Pt.8 and I Love. And that's who he's talking about being a witch. Also interesting. Yeah. So it seems to me like he actually worked to get where he was at. He was also nicknamed the Storyteller. Johnny Cash, George Jones, Loretta Lynn, Waylon Jennings. So he's a prolific singer-songwriter. Amazing that he would accuse him. Amazing.
They wouldn't be there. Okay? And eventually they'll get all the older ones out that got in there, do different things you had to do back. You've always had to do something. You're not on television or in the movies because you're good. You're there because you paid a price, whatever the producer wanted from you. Now it's witchcraft. In the early 70s and late 60s, it was homosexuality. And before that, it was the producer's couch and so on. Okay? But now it's witchcraft. All right?
Uh-huh. Doubt it.
Yeah, two things. First off, you were talking about the Rothschilds. There's a book that I just read I'd like to recommend to anyone who's interested in the international banking. It's called None Dare Call It Conspiracy. And that really explains it in the context of what's happening in the world today. And secondly, I would like to know about the witchcraft. What about these cults, the Jehovah's Witnesses, the Mormons, stuff like that? Can you tell us what influence that?
Well, the closest to witchcraft is the Mormons, because their Bible so resembles passages from the Book of Shadows, which is the witchcraft Bible. But see, here's the thing about the cults and so on. We have a mailing list. I mean, a post office box, and people write in, communicate with. There are so many thousands of cults, and most of them go to the disguise of Christian churches today that are teaching this variation from the Word of God and this variation and so on. And the thing here is that I firmly believe is there's one way to the Lord Jesus Christ, or to the Father through the Lord Jesus Christ in Calvary. That's the only way, through repentance, through a born-again experience. But with the devil, there's always but one. And all these cults are to serve one purpose, to keep your eyes off of Calvary, the only way to make it. And that's why all the television and all the literature out today is so down on the Christians for only one reason, that they try to say they're the only way. They're not saying they're the only way. The Lord Jesus Christ is saying He's the only way. And they try and put you down because you believe that repentance and the blood of Jesus is the only way there. Okay? But it is. And that's why certain well-known ministers today are trying to become popular and say, well, it's possible to make it to heaven other ways. Well, the Bible said there'd be idiots like that in the last days. Yes.
The age of Aquarius, you said, was like 1980, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you said that the man called Adam would be the Antichrist in whatever, the covenant or whatever.
Well, they believe he'll be the world dictator.
It's getting pretty close to 1980.
Yes, it is.
Do you have any idea, or who it might be? Because
his name was mentioned, but I'm not going to give his name.
Okay.
Too many of you wouldn't believe me, and I've already lost half of you anyway. I want to keep the rest of you through the service. Okay? Yeah. Listen, I'll just say this. I had to put up with all of the Christians running around for about 5 years telling me how Dr. Kissinger was going to be the Antichrist. I had to turn away and go, because I knew better. Okay? But remember, who I'm saying this doesn't mean that that's who it is. That just means that the Illuminati is going to do everything they can to make him the world ruler. Okay? But the way this country is going, and since Christians won't turn and seek the face of God and repent, and God can't save the country because they won't fulfill 2 Chronicles, I would say he's probably going to be right on schedule.
Yes, I had a question about your sister. You said that she was more advanced in witchcraft than yourself.
No.
At one time?
No. She was given a position faster than I was.
Faster than you
because women are given positions faster than men. Women, except in the higher councils, are the leaders. The high priest is in the coven, but he's only the enforcer.
See, I boomered that. Good to see you, Prophet Pete. Could he be comparing denominations to cults? That's what he does. Was he talking about Biden? No. What he was talking about is this guy right here, Gary Allen. None dare call it conspiracy. That was one thing that he was talking about. This guy right here, and that guy co-authored a book with this guy right here, Larry Henry Abraham, American businessman and author. He was a co-founder of Pan American Capital Group Incorporated, a speaker on political, economical, and financial topics. He was a member of the Birch Society, co-author of that book. And then, of course, if you know anything about Pan American Capital Group, Inc., well, this is the Pan American Capital Group right here. It was led from 2014 to 2018. The broker-dealer was not named in the criminal complaint charging Hernandez Fiera, which was one of his, basically, who ran it for him. So he was arrested in Italy last year with $1.2 billion embezzled from the Venezuelan state oil company Petroleum Venezuela. Amazing how these guys all fall into place with some sort of crooked scheme along the way. Yeah. So imagine that. Who do you think taught him that? So, yeah, that was written in 1969. None dare call it conspiracy. Basically, talking about how evil the people that hold money and run money are. They're evil, horrible people. So, yeah, it's interesting. There's crookedness everywhere. It's going to be in conservative movements. It's going to be in liberal movements. It's going to be in churches. You're going to find it everywhere. Everybody can be crooked, and they can also do good things at the same time. Those things are just not synonymous with one another. So, yeah, it can be interesting. Just don't follow the paths too far. You go deep enough, and you realize that all these people are, slightly incestuous.
The high priestess is the pastor.
I see. Is she still in the cult? That was the first question.
Yes,
the other one,
is.
She is. Okay.
She's one of Philip Rothschild's girlfriends, and she runs messages.
Good to see you, Iris. Good to see you. How you doing this evening? How are you doing?
Between Philip Rothschild and David Rockefeller on a regular basis. Okay.
And the next question is, you met your wife when she was a member of the cult, and that must have been an awkward situation. Did you leave first, or did you leave together?
My wife got saved. She took my sister's place as witch queen in the state of Ohio and owned the second largest occult store in the country. And she got saved in one of the meetings, and after going through rehabilitation and so on, we got married. Okay? And before you take any questions, let me do something here real quick, because we're running out of time here. I spoke with your teenagers here at chapel, and I told them about
creepy
a plan of the occult to place certain objects in Christians' homes.
Squaw Bob, how you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you.
To be able to put demonic influences into the home and tear down the home and the Christian prayer life and place rebellion and depression and suicide upon Christians. Now you may think, well, I'm a Christian, that's impossible. Listen to me. When you take something that belongs to the devil into your possession, you're asking for trouble. All right? The Bible, the Word of God, was wholly inspired by the Holy Ghost. All right? Nobody, I think, will argue with me that's a born-again Christian, at least. Certain objects are inspired by the spirit of Satan, by demonic influence. Rock music. If witches can't cast spells on witches, on Christians, they got smart. They'll let the Christians cast the spells on themselves. The witches will quote the spells in rock music, and then let the Christians play them, and they keep casting the spells over and over on themselves. That's why rock music. Now, you may think that's garbage, but the witches believe it, and I believe it, because I've seen it done. That's why rebellion and drugs and the sexual revolution has swept your children, and you try to shelter them from it by sending them to a Christian school, and then you let the world be brought into your homes in the form of rock music. But they didn't just want the kids. They wanted the adults. They pretty well got it with soap operas.
Soap operas?
But they decided that they would put their most powerful object in witchcraft into the hands of Christians. First, they changed the name to make them look innocent.
So basically what he's saying is any form of entertainment is the will of the devil. Don't be entertained. YouTube, devil. Sounds like church lady. Could it be Satan?
They didn't call them hexagrams and pentagrams and pentacles and leprechaun's horns and stuff like this anymore. They didn't call it the Ankh or anything like this. They changed their name to things like just stars and crescents and crosses of lives so they could sell them in Christian bookstores and so on. In fact, that would probably surprise them that they would start selling them in Christian bookstores. They decided to sell them through their conglomerates first, and they used federal department stores, which owns most of the department stores that you ladies and gentlemen shop at. And the one that's not owned by federal department stores is Montgomery Ward's, and it's owned by Standard Oil. So it's owned anyway. And then they wanted to go into all the rest of the homes that maybe wouldn't pick them up in the jewelry.
That's right. Make sure that you guys like it. Share this around. If you like what I'm doing, hopefully I earn your subscription. It'd be honored to receive that. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Jude. You're awesome.
Stores. So they used one of their largest companies. And if we have any distributors of this company I'm going to name, don't you come to me, because I've got a stack of testimonies of how distributors, when they first started selling this, depression set in their home, their marriages broke up, and 3 or 4 people actually tried to take their own lives in fits of depression that they didn't understand. And these were born-again Christians. And then when they heard about this, they destroyed the stuff, and they've never had any of this in their home since. All the depression left, all the marriage troubles left, and the thoughts of suicide left. So I've got the testimony, so don't come and tell me about it. Those are the first 3. Now this jewelry I'm going to show you, except the second 2 pieces, could not be bought in a store until a few years ago. You stop and think about it when you started seeing this stuff. To buy these symbols here, you had to go to an occult store. Of course, that was easy for San Francisco. They've always been a little weird. But you go to the occult stores, but you had to prove that you were initiated witch of a coven before they would sell this stuff to you, and it was made by their coven silversmith. The first one's called a pentacle. If you put a circle around it, it's called the pentagram. It's the symbol of witchcraft. And 1 point up is the symbol of witchcraft. 2 points up, like it's showing kind of there, it's the symbol of Satanist church, the symbol of the horn god. You might also notice it's also the symbol of the Eastern Star.
All those stars that I used to draw as a little kid, I was drawing satanic emblems. I was just trying to say you're a superstar. Damn it. Oh, I didn't even put a circle around it. Son of a buck. It was doing that from an early age. Stars were easy to draw. Just a bunch of triangles.
We were in San Francisco last night, and in the building that the Illuminati houses the Rothschild's private enforcer, Isaac Bonowitz. He's like a living computer. He's also one of the members of the council that I led. In the store down below, which sells many pieces of occult jewelry, they sell ladies' compacts with Eastern stars embedded in them. With all.
Well, in case. Okay. My grandmother was an Eastern Star. So, let's show you. So, we'll show you right here. Share this tab instead. So, the Order of the Eastern Star is a Masonic appendant body open to both men and women. It was established in 1850 by a lawyer and educator, Rob Morris, noted Freemason, and adopted and approved an appendant body of Masonic fraternity in 1873. The order is based on some teachings from the Bible. Open to people of all religious beliefs. There's approximately 110 chapters in 20 countries and approximately 500,000 members under its general grand chapter. Members of the Order of the Eastern Star, aged 18 and older men must be master masons, and the women must have specific relationships with masons. such as being married. Originally, a woman would have to be the daughter, widow, wife, sister, mother of a master mason. The order now allows other relatives, as well as allowing Job's daughters, Rainbow Girls, member of the organization Triangles, New York only, and members of Constellation of Junior Stars only become members when of age. He set down the principles of the Rosary of the Eastern Star by 1855. He organized the Supreme Constellation in New York, which charted the chapters throughout the United States. So that's basically what it is. Emblems, heroines, Ada, Ruth, Esther, Martha, Electa. So that's what they're talking about. That's all that they're talking about. Crazy, yeah. So these people, they're considering them witches. So charities, order has a charitable foundation, Alzheimer's disease research, juvenile diabetes, juvenile asthma, also provides bursary to students of theology and religious music, as well as other scholarships that differ by jurisdiction. In 2000, over 8,300 or 83,000 was donated. Many jurisdictions supported Masonic or Eastern Star Retirement Center, nursing home for older members. Some homes are also open to the public. So basically, it just talks about their notable members. African American Prince Hall, Order of Eastern Star, so there you go. Eastern Stars all hanging out. not very scary or secretive, huh? Oh, crazy that people get. It's easy to call things out whenever they don't really actually know anything about it.
The little runes and so on. This is called the hexagram, not the Star of David. The Star of David is a name change on it. David was dead and buried.
Well, hello, Mimsy. Good to see you, Mimsy. Good to see you.
When that star was created by a son that had backslid and went into demonic worship. Solomon would seal his documents of war and his occult documents with that thing. They call it the Crest of Solomon or the hexagram. And that's where the word to hex or to cast an evil spell came from. Witches, when they conjure demons, they call the demons up to talk to them in person. This star must be drawn on the floor for the demon to arrive in, or it won't appear. Now that gives you an idea. It's the most evil sign in the occult world. This symbol in various forms means that you're an initiated witch of witchcraft. And if you'll watch television, well, I'm sure you do. If you watch television, you'll notice that many of the television stars are now wearing this symbol openly. Why not? Christians don't know what it means. You also notice it was a sign of the Shriners, too. This one up above is being sold. Oh, well, this one. Oh, well. Somehow, there we go. Maybe now. I don't think it's going to work. There we go. There, we got it worked out. The first one's called the Ankh. They call it the Cross of Life now. It's selling it in Christian bookstores and so on. The Cross of Life, or the Ankh, comes from Egypt. Means that you're a worshiper of Ra, the sun god. That's the Egyptian name for Lucifer. So it means that you worship Lucifer. It means that you...
Holy cow. Holy cow, I missed somebody. Caitlin, good to see you. Good to see you. Well, I'm hoping Caitlin reaches out to me and we have a stream coming up pretty soon. If not, I may just have to set one up and bring her onto mine. You guys want to see Caitlin on mine, or you want to all join over on Caitlin's? Because we can get her some watch hours. Whichever. You tell me, Caitlin. I can make it happen over here if we need to. So here we go. Actually, the pentagram and pentacle are different. Pentacle points upwards towards heaven. Pentagram points downwards towards hell. I'm Christian. My friend is Wiccan. Just saying. Yeah, it's easy to make things up. with a little bit of truth, and then a little bit of lie, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And here I'll show you. So OES Foundation, and this is a pretty interesting thing here. OES Foundation is the order utilizes beautiful and inspiring biblical examples of heroic conduct and moral values. These portray the noble principles which should adorn the personal lives of all Eastern Star members. They strive to build an environment for their members and their order that is truly dedicated to charity, truth, and loving kindness by uplifting each other through service in our local communities. So it's pretty hilarious that it's misunderstood.
Despise virginity, that you're against virginity, that you practice orgies, and that you believe in reincarnation. That means that you don't believe in heaven or hell, that when you die you're going to come back again, and the Word of God is a lie because it says you'll live once and then judgment. But they say no. The next is the broken cross, the peace sign. Didn't it originate in Frisco or London during the peace movement? It's been around a long time. We've heard a lot of cracks about it, the footprint of American chicken and all this type of thing. This is what it is. When a person wants to become a member of witchcraft, and they come from a Christian background, I didn't have to take this initiation because I was born into witchcraft. They're given a cross made out of ceramic clay, baked clay, and it's turned upside down, and they take the crossbars and they break it, forcing the crossbars down and break the crossbars off. And they throw the pieces to the floor and shatter it. And the priest or priestess, whoever's doing the initiation, then announces, "You are free from the bondage of the Christian church. And because of this act, you shall have peace evermore." Thus, the peace sign. It's called the broken cross.
Absolutely.
This one you're not going to find until about a year from now. Anybody ever seen this symbol before? Everybody wants 666. You're right. 666. It's 3 overlapping sixes.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, here's where you can find it. You can find it on the world currency printed out of Brussels. We bought $10 billion of it, but our president decided that it's better to go with a credit card than the currency now, so we're not going to use it. You'll find it in clothing and shoes made in the common market countries, in the labels of the clothing. More recent, about a year ago, it was on national television, when the President of the United States, the peanut eater from Georgia, that's about the best I can do for him. I could say more. Said he had personally designed a national security card that would be the answer to the problems in the United States. And that every citizen, law-abiding citizen, would have one of these cards to prove they were a law-abiding citizen. Whatever. Then he got done making his speech. He left. His press secretary came up and says to the newsman, "Here's a picture." Now, for some reason, with all the flash bulbs popping and stuff, that card's picture never got printed in the paper. I don't know why. Maybe they decided it was a bad move. But in the center of the card was a pearl white glossy card, computer plastic type. In the center, in kind of a gray with words written over it, but in the background, like a watermark, was this emblem. "Welcome to the last generation." They're putting their forces together.
Putting their forces
now,
together.
The California National Guard has switched to this patch recently. There's a circle with 3 arrows coming out of it on their behalf. We've known that Florida, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, Maryland, and about 6 other states have switched to it this year.
All right, so let's see. Guard patch. Arrows. Okay. So what they're missing, and I'll show you what they're talking about. And they're talking about this patch right here. That's the patch that he's talking about. So if you understand what this means, those 3 arrows stand for 3, 3, 0. The 6th ADA, the 6th Air Defense Artillery Brigade changed its designations to the 30th ADA in ceremonies in Fort Sill, May 18th. So That's what he's talking about. Of course, this was in 2017, but that's all it is. Like a 30th Artillery Brigade, Coast Artillery Corps. You'll have after reactivation, the 30th Artillery Brigade, the 6th ADA. So I mean, that's all it is they're just changing them their name to the 30th. That's all that it means. Oh, please do. Please drop that link if Dirk's fine with that. Oh, that's fine. Put the little one down. Put the little one down. And Hindus believe in reincarnation based off of karma. People often get karma wrong. Your good karma is weighed against your bad karma. Well, everybody has different beliefs, and well, that's the beauty of being in the United States is you have that ability because the government can't control any of that.
We've been told by the end of the year that all the National Guard in the United States will wear one patch. They've all, at the first of this year, were hooked into a computer in Dallas called the National Security Computer. That's who they call up, by the way, when they check out your Visa cards or your Bank of America cards or whatever the case may be. Now, if you've been going to the grocery stores and the department stores, you've been noticing the new computer cash registers. One shopping step type cash registers, and you put your card in it and ring up the purchase, and it does all the business for you right then and there. Well, all the stores are supposed to switch over to them, and the little poorer stores are supposed to get the little phone unit that hooks into your phone, and you zip the card through. This is all supposed to happen in the next year, right on time schedule, just like it should be. Then things will be a little different around here, because by then they plan on destroying the money that you have, and then you'll have to use the card, because the money will be worthless. Now, if you've been noticing all the television commercials, security is the word that everybody's been using on television commercials. Prepare for the future, pack up for security this and security that. And then they're going to turn around and they're going to wipe your security off the face of the man. I'm going to destroy that microphone before it's over. Now, if I'm stepping on your little safe world, I'm sorry. I'm trying to tell you something in advance. And I'm going to give you a reading list so you don't think I'm the only nut in the world. The first book is None Dare Call Conspiracy. I'm going to give these quick, and then I'll take a few questions. We've got a few minutes, and that's it. The next is the Rockefeller Files, and the last one is Jimmy Carter. Now, those can be found in most bookstores. They're by Gary Allen. But I recommend one that you find in the Christian bookstore. It's called The Day the Dollar Dies. You might decide to invest the financial money that you're saving in your savings account that'll be worthless before this year is out in the work of God. I'm serious. It'll be worthless before this year is out. This time next year, the time schedule they have, I'll give you a few events. I'm not prophesying, I'm giving you physical knowledge. You may think I'm crazy. They thought I was crazy back in 1972 when I said we were going to have a fuel shortage. They thought I was crazy back in 1973 when I said watch for the coal mines to close. So you may think I'm crazy, but next year when it's all happening, at least I told you in advance. You got a little bit of warning. There'll be 10 million people out of work this time next year. Now that's when our welfare system, unemployment system, and Social Security system goes collapse because it won't be able to handle that many people out of work. And you may want to go home and pray and ask yourself what this country's going to be like with 10 million people not eating and not having any money. And then you may want to pray that a lot of souls get won and Jesus comes quickly. I know I'm going to. Okay, I'll take some questions and answers. Let's just go without the microphone so we can do it quickly, and I'll try to repeat the questions. I believe you. Go ahead.
Yes, he is.
Silver and gold coins, and I forget the South African coin and so on and so on. Okay. Cougaran. Okay. Real quickly. I heard everybody in the world described as the Antichrist. That's why I'm not giving my opinion along with it. Okay? Yes, I've heard about him. Yeah, I've heard about him. And as for your silver and gold coins, okay? How are you going to spend them if you're not allowed to spend them? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Okay. All the silver and gold in the world, you're right. You do have the right idea. The only system that will exist then is either the government no cash system or a barter system between people. Okay? That's why people like Tom Berry, myself, Joe Boyd, and other ministers across the country are now telling people to prepare for a barter system. Okay? You can make it till the Lord comes on the barter system. But gold and silver is the wrong way to go. Okay? I take your gold and silver, if you've got it stored up, and invest it in the barter system real quick. Because even if you could spend gold and silver, okay, the barter system would still work even better. Because they got to have goods. The number one most valuable item will be one that is illegal and almost impossible to obtain at the time, called a firearm, a gun.
No. Not true.
The next will be ammunition to go in that gun, and then dehydrated and freeze-dried food, or canned goods. Okay?
Oh my gosh.
Well, water will probably be the most expensive item in existence. Okay? They've got a few surprises for the drinking system that you now have. Okay? Next question. Back here. All the way in the back. Yeah.
Toilet paper's all you need.
Yes, he is. Is the Antichrist in politics was the question. Yes, he is. Yes, he's in American politics. Yes. Well, we've won quite a few Jehovah's Witnesses. I'm not saying that this will win them, but you could try one question. It usually starts the ball rolling. What tribe are you a member of? You'd have to understand their doctrine, but it really starts with stuttering and stammering. Yeah.
I have a little bit of the TP.
I'm against Catholic Church for one reason. Okay? It's because it's two reasons. When I was in the Catholic Church, the occult world received a sanction from Pope Paul that white witchcraft was permissible for Catholics to practice. And second, I can watch Catholic Mass. I can go in and write our Masses down, our rites in witchcraft, and let you read them as they go through them in the Catholic Church. Most of the doctrine of the saints, the doctrine of the mighty ones in witchcraft. The doctrine of the wine being turned to blood, that's in witchcraft. Okay? The doctrine almost of everything, the altar, minus the knife, is the only thing missing on the Catholic altar from the witchcraft altar. And in some countries, not America, not the knife, but the scourge, which is also on the witchcraft altar, is laid on the Catholic altar. And most of all the doctrines of the virgins, the nuns, the doctrines of the priesthood, and so these are all come from the temples of Diana in Rome and were invested into the Christian church at the Nicene Council. Okay? It was back when the witches got smart. They said, if we can't beat them, we'll join them. And they've been doing it ever since. Yes. Well, there's a book coming out, okay, called The Angel of Light, all right? And in it compares the Mormons, the Masonic, and the witchcraft doctrines. And they're...
Oh, okay, well, let's look that up here. Love this. The Angel of Light. Here we go. The Angel of Light. Here we go. It's by Jack Chick. Imagine that. So there's also another one. But I'm pretty sure this is the book that he's talking about. This right here, Angel of Light, and it's by Jack Chick. Nobody wants to talk about hell or Satan, but they're both very real. Here's how Satan worked for centuries to destroy millions. His involvement with governments and false religions. He makes himself look good, like an angel of light. Yeah, Chick Publishing, Crusader Comic Book Volume 9. So that's an interesting one. Angel of Light. Good to know.
Almost all three, they're like triplets, okay? It'll be from Chick Publications in the form of the Crusader comic books, and it'll be out in about 2 months when the artwork's done. Watch your Christian bookstore for it. I get a feeling it's going to win more Masons and more Mormons out of the occult world than anything has ever done before, because it quotes from some of the most inner books of the Mormons and Masons. The problem with the Mormons and Masons is they live on that secrecy thing. You never know what the inner circles are doing.
Yes,
so this book brings the inner circles to the outer circle. And boy, it's going to open some eyes too. I want to see the Masons stutter and stammer around when they read out of their own books that Jesus Christ is the God of evil and Lucifer is the God of good.
No, this guy was a conspiracy theorist that believed that these tapes were recorded in the 70s, about the time that Carter was president. So he claimed that was it Rosalind Carter was a high priestess, the Satanic Church, that let's see, just all kinds of stuff. The Rothschilds were, head of the Council of 33 or 13 or some crap like that. Just basically making up stuff because, well, who's going to disprove him? I mean, you can make up just about anything, and it also got him in a little bit of trouble. But he was this particular guy, John Wayne Todd, was a how do you say kitty diddler nice? Yeah. Let's put it this way. He knocked up his wife's sister, and ended up getting his wife, ended up divorcing him, but he got 20 years in prison for assault on a young lady. And then whenever he was in prison, he tried appealing, and he wanted to get the ladies' panties that he had and photographs of naked women that he had photographed. And he was pretty ticked off because they wouldn't let him practice his Wiccan religion while he was in prison. So yeah, the guy was a nutter. He was a complete nutter. Hey, Clumsy, good to see you. Oh yes, good to see you, Clumsy. Yeah, and he was close in with Jack Chick, like really close. There's quite a few of them that believe that. I don't know if he says it on these tapes, but he talks about the JFK assassination never actually happened. That he actually spoke with JFK, was on his yacht with him. So yeah.
And then I want him to tell me that the Masons are a Christian organization. Yes.
And I'll tell you this right now. My grandfather, which was a Mason, he would tell you, no, the Masons are not a Christian organization. But that's not what the Masons are about. They don't talk about religion in any of their ceremonies or anything like that. It has nothing to do with it. Although it is, you can be religion. You can have your own religion, but it doesn't dictate whether you're going to be a Mason or not. So it's interesting. Oh yeah, Mark Warnke. So you have to understand that he was exposed to complete fraud in 92. So in 73, Mike Warnke got in a dispute with this guy, Jack Chick, not Jack Chick, but John Wayne Todd, because he was basically saying the identical things that John Wayne Todd was saying, claiming that he was a former witch, and John Wayne Todd got really pissed off at him and threatened to sue him and all kinds of crap like that for basically stealing his idea for a grift. So speaking of grifts, here we go. PayPal, got Buy Me a Coffee, got Cash App. You can throw cash at me, and oh man, I forgot, see, I do this all the damn time. I've got a Rumble channel also. So I am over there on Rumble. And if anybody has jumped in there, I haven't said hello to any of you fine folks over there. So give me a second. I'll open that up. Well, it does not look like anybody's over there, but if you happen to go over there, just give it a thumbs up and say hello. So hello, little girl. There we go. I'm sorry about that. You find Rumble folks. I'm slacking over here. Sometimes that happens. I just completely blubber out and do dumb things. Can't help it. It's just the way that it goes some days. Man, I have to pop this damn thing out. Pop out chat. There we go. So that way it shows up and I can do that. See, I'm not boomering it so bad. Foundational to the no, because the satanic panic it became really mainstream in the 80s, but this was the satanic panic was happening in the early 70s. You know, this was just a long build up, and you can see that it's working its way to come back again. It rears its ugly head up every so often. Well, goodbye then. No, you don't have to say goodbye. Oh, thank you so much, Clumsy. I appreciate it. You're so awesome. I like it. It's been I've received so much support on the 3D print stuff, and all that I do have your addresses, and what I'm waiting for, it'll probably be about 5 to 6 weeks once I get that stuff in, because I've ordered the parts. I've ordered the upgrade. And once I get all of that done, all that were on PayPal, I will be sending you guys something pretty neat. I'm hoping you guys like it. So no, I'm not going to Rumble. No, I'm just, I dual stream over on Rumble. So it's over there all the time. Whenever I try to do this, whenever I stream on Mondays and Tuesdays, I like to get the Rumble up and running. Just to try to, in case YouTube finds something that I do like uninspiring or removable, which they do quite often to people. So I have Rumble as a backup. So if it disappears here, you can always find me over on Rumble. That way people will find me. That way people can find me. So if for some reason you see my channel just disappear, it goes away, just know that I'll be over on Rumble. And there's, that's what you got to do in this day and age, because sometimes you're going to say things that might get people a little ticked off. I try not to, but hey, it happens.
I can't hear you. You mean the Salem witchcraft trial?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there's another book coming out from Chick Publications as soon as the Angel of Light gets out. It'll be out in about a year if the world hangs around that long. And it's called
See, Jack Chick Publications. He's a tight end with the man.
Show, and it's on the Salem witchcraft trials. Now, I went back there because my family, the Collins family, is credited of building the Salem church, building the building. So I went back there and I kind of conned myself in, half prayer, half conning, into the Ethics Museum library where the original manuscripts are. And I went through the original manuscripts. Except for one prostitute, every person executed in the Salem witch trials was not a Puritan, but a born-again Christian. They were from a group across the river that had separated from the Puritan church, and the pastor there was preaching the born-again experience. And that there's one thing that would upset a witch, having a bunch of freaky Christians next door to him. So they hung him. Considering the pastor wasn't a pastor that had the Salem church, he was a slave trader. That's a matter of history. The Collins built the church, and it was the first American witchcraft coven. So why were they going to hang real witches? Of course not. And it comes out really plain. One of the main charges was that the Christians across the river were reading from the book of Revelations, and that was against the law. Okay? Yeah. Okay. I didn't know it was that sloppy.
My boy went to your meeting this Friday, and he spoke that you had taken part in ritual sacrifice. Is this the case? Weren't you did?
Those are good questions. One, I'm packing a weapon because I've had so many attempts on my life. Okay? I know some Christians can't understand a Christian having a weapon. the same Christians have never had their families and themselves shot at dozens of times. I've got a wife and children and myself, and I might as well go ahead and say at the refuge house, the way that those people are going to stay alive is because the workers all pack weapons within the house. Now,
what I'll okay, what I'll say is, if you want to throw his link up there, I'll pin it so whenever we end here, people will be able to jump in on that one. So if you want to throw it up there, I'll make sure that I don't have the capabilities of doing raids of dumping people over. It doesn't work like that until you become monetized. So until I'm monetized, I can't do that. I would if I could, but I can't. So I can post his link up there.
Before that was done, we had one other refuge house. 3 people were machine gunned to death in the house. That's why I pack a weapon. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Next, I obey the laws of California. The weapon's on me when I'm in the church. When I leave, it goes in the trunk of my car. Okay? But we take so many different routes. They're going to have a hard time finding me when I leave the church. Now, I want to go with this a little more, and then I'll ask your other question. There are many ministers today that are packing guns, all with contracts on their life, all well-known ministers. One of the most well-known ministers in the country today is Jack Howes. Jack probably won't when he's here. He'll trust the churches to have security for him while he was here. We had to when he was down at our home church a couple of weeks ago. In fact, several of the people that are guarding me today guarded Brother Howes as bodyguards when he was there. But he preaches behind a bulletproof podium, and 2 bodyguards escort him all over the place when he's in Hammond. There's been that many attempts on his life. Tom Berry, Joe Boone.
To answer your question, yes, I do have clear translucent filament. It's pretty neat. Printed something out. What was it, yesterday? So here, I'll show you. So I printed this out yesterday. And it's pretty neat because what this does is you take your phone, especially because I work outside all the time and I'm working around wood, and you reach in here and you can scrape all the little pieces of sawdust and dirt and lint. Pretty neat little tool. Neat little piece. It takes like 5 minutes to print out and cost me maybe about 8 cents, something like that. But it's so handy. Better than trying to use a toothpick or something like that. So yes, I do have clear translucent. It doesn't look really good on, like, you can't print out a window or something like that, but whenever you're using it, it looks pretty neat.
Boy, they go armed all the time. Okay? Now, Chick Publications, after doing The Broken Cross, the book that I wrote, had to move into a building with bulletproof glass in the windows. And when you drive up to the building, you'll still see the bullet holes in the windows where they tried to go ahead and shoot them anyway through the windows. Now, that is the real world out there when you start dealing with the occult. Next, the human sacrifice thing. I went, gave all the information to the FBI. I told them what senators were involved. I mean, the man who handed me the knife to do the ritualistic killing was a United States senator that ran for president named McGovern. I gave the times, the dates. I said where weapons are stored. Now, let me give you an idea. Right now.
Oh, I've got something I'll show you. It's pretty cool. Give me a second. So this right here looks like a scoop, but what it is you put a tea light inside this and you attach it to your umbrella, like an umbrella post, so you can have a light in there. I did this as a practice one because I had some of this red filament left over. But you can do it in clear, and you can do multiple ones, like down the pole, and actually like light up a table. Like if you've got pole in the center of it, you just pop it right in there and drop your tea lights in it. And with the clear, you can get some of those LEDs. They'll actually slowly change colors and stuff. The little LED tea lights works perfect for that. It just clips right on the pole, and away you go. And yes, it will. It does make some pretty cool light up stuff for the translucent stuff. I also have like this tea light twisted vase. So you put the tea light in there, and it actually will put these cool designs on the wall. Pretty neat.
We have one witness back here who saw several trucks with thousands of machine guns and thousands of grenades unloaded 2 weeks ago in a storage place 5 miles from our home church up Topanga Canyon. We notified the alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, the county sheriff, and the local police. It's still there, with more weapons being moved in every day. When we told the FBI, I had 4 ministers with me. They said, well, for turning this information in, and they didn't give it to me in writing, you have community and all this, and they walked out. We walked out, thought, oh, good, we're really going to do something to the Illuminati. We can just see McGovern walking in handcuffs. Called back 2 weeks later. They denied they ever talked to us. Now, that's the real world, okay? Now, if it happens several times, they've tried to get grand juries. We try to get grand juries going. And the only person they ever wanted to indict was me. So we've now learned that if they ever try to do that again when we go in, we just bring a lawyer along with us. I don't mind going down, as long as the Illuminati goes with it. But they won't, because you're talking about presidents and senators and FBI agents and everything else. I turned down preaching in a church in this area because 2 FBI agents were present. Nothing against the pastor or the congregation, because it has a fine reputation as a church. I wouldn't go there for that reason, because 2 years ago, we tried to get a grand jury, a federal grand jury, to indict 2 FBI agents that were spotted by dozens of people openly trying to kill me, shooting at me, almost at point-blank range. Guess what happened? Nothing.
They missed.
Okay?
They missed.
Next question. One more question. Way in the back. With the occult? Okay, I'll give you a bombshell you're not going to believe. Kennedy got saved 3 months before his death. That's why they killed him. Okay, I can take about 10 minutes, but I don't want to explain and prove that that's the truth. But it did happen. In fact, several people, if they were there last night, I went into detail about it. Okay, but it did happen. He was saved down in Tampa, Florida, through a man that helped arrange the Bay of Pigs that became a Christian a few months earlier, and then witnessed to him along with a couple of ministers, and he gave his heart to the Lord. And they tried to call him back. The Pope even ordered him into a private audience a month before his death and ordered him to take Mass, and Kennedy walked out of the place refusing Mass. The lady might give that to her husband. Okay? But that's why. Okay, Pastor, it's all yours.
All right, I need some help up here. Dan, perhaps a couple of you fellas can remove some of this and bring the pulpit up here. We appreciate your kind attention. And
yeah, so that's the end of that particular one. Oh, yeah. The wild claims of John Wayne Todd. But the cool thing is we've got one more that I should be able to get through. Probably no, I can hold off on that. I don't need to do that particular one. That's the and absolutely, Rabbit. You can always send in a special request, and I'll be happy to see if I can make that happen for you. So I've got some pretty cool designs that I can pull up and show off. I mean, it takes a little bit of time to do them. Things like this. So if like, for example, if you had an iWatch or an Apple Watch, I guess, so you can put your little Apple Watch thing in there, and then you set your watch on top of it. Here, I actually I have an Apple Watch, but you set it in there like this, and it'll charge it, and then you got little Groot pointing his finger at it. See, pretty neat. And it just feeds up through there, through the backside of it. And then you've got this thing that runs off, and you plug it in, and away you go. So you've got like a place to have your Apple Watch. It looks pretty interesting. Like really weird kooky stuff like that. Well, that's fine. Rabbit, you already donated. I owe you something there. You already donated. I owe you so much, Rabbit. And I would happily make something really neat for you. And the cool thing is I'll grift that too. So I'll show it on my stream while it's printing. It'll be fun and entertaining. The cool part about those streams is I can set my printer and let them run, and people get to watch it be created. dangerous part is if it fails and I'm not paying any attention, you guys get to see that too. If you've ever seen a printer fail, it looks pretty cool. Special request for money plates. Oh, that would be funny. That would get me in trouble. I'll get my own paper and ink. Oh. What I should do is put those into the gifts that I'm sending out so people can use them. You know, I can print a whole strip of them, so then they just pop right off. It's pretty cool, but yeah, they're pretty neat. And I mean, you can buy, the little picks and stuff like that. But I thought having a 3D printed one would be pretty neat. And I can always change up the head of it if I wanted to. So if I wanted to put like my logo on it or put your logo on it or something like that, I can always do those. Is there a special filament brand or does it matter? Well, some of them it does. It depends on what I'm printing out. Like here, I'll show you. Give me a second. So this is a perfect example. So like what I printed for Valhalla and also for MLS Law is this hard filament. So it's a hard plastic filament. And then for other prints, I use this one here, which is a soft, flexible filament that prints out. And this is like more of your skin colored filament, which I need to fix that right there. But this is more of a skin colored filament, flexible. See, flexible. It has to be a certain size. I usually buy it in larger rolls. I think these are like a 1 pound roll or something like that. So I can do multiple different prints with it. And also if it fails, made you an angel. Oh yeah, making an angel. I did a weeping angel from Doctor Who for my wife, and didn't like it. She was like, it's sort of the fingers were a little messed up. So what I do every Christmas is I'll put it on her Christmas village, and she has no idea it's there until about halfway into the holiday season because she likes to do the little Christmas village, and so I'll put it somewhere randomly on her Christmas village, and she's always, damn it. Yeah, I'm kooky like that. I did let's see, I 3D printed out like a sonic screwdriver in, I think, blue. Got it wandering around here somewhere. Just, trying out different styles and prints. I've done oh hell, what else did I print out that, I did because I used to have this Garmin, but the little thing for it where it would clip in was always a pain in the ass. So I printed out a stand for it so it would actually clip in place and stay connected. I do. Yeah, I know you guys would like that. Yeah, I've done just like, I'll just do like random things. I mean, I did a little bowl like this, and I just took, because I needed something to lift everything off of, because I have to wait. What I do is I have to send out service to different people, and that usually requires me weighing out for postage. So this little bowl, you flip it upside down, set it on top of my scale to weigh the envelope, and it keeps it stood up so I can actually read how many ounces it is. So it's pretty neat. It's little, you can make pretty cool little useful and useless things. Like here, I'll show you something useless I printed. Yeah, just and sometimes I'll print stuff like this out whenever I'm just doing a test print. I printed out like the some stuff for Gosney, which was pretty cool. Captain Have Fun bought the STL and sent it to me, and I printed those out for Gosney and sent those off to him. And those are pretty neat. Those are super easy and small. I mean, they're like that big. They're really tiny, small, like pinky size. Really, really tiny. Took me, I think, 15 minutes to print one of those out, something like that. Oh, you getting ready to head out? I got you. It's good seeing you. Good seeing you. Glad you came by. And yeah, your friend has a 3D printer, made you an angel. Yeah, there's lots of really cool things you can make. I've got a larger one, so I can do larger prints. They just take a lot of time to do. But yeah, that's the kind of that's kind of weird, kooky things that I do on whenever I'm bored. I just look up random 3D prints and I'll look up a random 3D print and find something interesting to print out and make sure that it's good to go. Hey, how's it going? What? Libby J. Liba. Pretty cool. It is. And the cool part is letting you guys get to see the process of those prints. I would show you what it looks like, the slicer software, but it uses up so much memory, like showing you a large sliced out piece that it can, some of them will take 5 minutes on the computer to actually render out. And they take really long to actually print out. We're talking the large piece that I'm going to do for David that's multiple colors. That's currently, and that's if I just did it in one color, we're looking at 7 days. I think that's right. 7 days, 57 minutes, something like that. And that's a long, that's long. Well, welcome home. Really good to see. I'm glad you're home. Those kind of things take up quite a bit of time rendering, and then they'll take up quite a bit of time printing because it's laying out each individual layer. And it will have a color change on the print that I'm going to do for him. So as it's printing out, it'll actually swap out colors. They're like in a tube, and they'll just put the one in there that needs to work and just switches it back and forth. It has a little blade in there, so if it fails and can't go in, it'll trim it off. And I've got to do a few practice runs with it to make sure that I've got it set up properly. Because if you don't want to have your print fail, especially if you're like halfway into it. And then also drawing it out for the software to slice it, knowing that it's going to have multiple colors. And it doesn't take me long to get the printer filament. I mean, I could order printer filament today, it would be here tomorrow. But what I'll do is I'll get closer to the point whenever I've actually got the parts here to put together, because they send it in a kit. I'll actually have to print out the 3D parts for it, which is fine because they send you the filament to print those out. Once I've printed those out, then I will I will put it all together and assemble it. And at that time is whenever I'll start ordering my colors for it. So, I mean, you're looking at, let's see, it's October right now. August. It's August now. Jeez, I'm so out of it. So it's August right now. August, probably sometime in September. The metal parts should arrive with the diagrams to assemble it. Talk about, these guys do Lego builds. Whenever you're building a 3D printer, it's a different beast altogether. It doesn't all snap into place. That's why I've got a piece on my 3D printer that I had to print out because I broke the one as I was installing it. I installed it backwards and cracked it. It was part a piece that would hold the fan, and because it wasn't such a very big piece, I actually was able to print it and then install it. If it would have been one of the major parts that like holds the thing together, this just held the fan in place, so a crack in it wasn't going to hurt. It just made a little bit of noise. But once I replaced that, it quieted it up. I mean, I was printing 3D print ASMR. Yeah, that will be happening. But I don't think I'll be doing the whole print. I'll probably just pull it up whenever I'm, streaming. Just pull it up and let it run in the background. That kind of stuff. it'll be interesting. It'll be fun. And what was I thinking? Yeah, and so whenever I talked with David, I actually sent him a message today, because I noticed whenever I was putting everything, packaging it all up, get ready to send out to him, and these are small. I mean, they're the size of like a shot glass. They're not huge. They're smaller pieces. The head probably about the size of a ping pong, and then a golf ball for the size of the helmet itself. So I noticed that for whatever reason, whenever the helmet would sit, it was like rubbing on the table that I had it sitting on. And I think what I did wrong was I printed the head just a little bit too small, and I needed to increase the size of that just a little bit to match the helmet. Not very much, but just a slight bit. Do 3D printers print well enough to eliminate sanding? I mean, if you were, it's just cast plastic for something like a Lego is much easier to do. It ends up being cheaper and less time consuming. But for printing out like a Lego portion of it, I mean, they have, like, my printer will do what's called ironing. So whenever it finishes one of the top layers, it'll iron it out. And the way that Legos are designed, they have little snaps in there. And that particular ABS, like if you print it with ABS, you can probably get it a lot smoother, and then just do an acetone wash with them. But just the cost to do something like Legos would be pretty prohibitive. And Legos pretty much, they've got like some decent colors that you can't really do with a 3D printer, and you would see all the layers and stuff. So it's crazy. Yeah, I wouldn't suggest like printing something out like Legos with a 3D printer. I mean, you can like 3D print out models. Like there's a airplane model that I checked out, which was pretty cool. And you still end up being able to see, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So you'll see those layers right there. So you'll have layers in the that show up in the print as it's doing its circular portions, and it's layering out. You end up with those, and then you can sand this out a little bit, and you end up with it a little bit smooth there. But yeah, it's it's still you're going to end up being able to see most of the layers. And that's if you do the resin dipped ones, where they're slowly doing what do you call it? It's a laser infrared light. Whenever you do those tend to be a lot smoother, and you don't notice the lines on them as much. Yeah, it depends on what you're using. Like acetone, you'd want to use on like your ABS. PLA, you can do it on other stuff. Just curious, can stuff with holes, action figures often have to have peg holes in the feet. Yeah, I mean, you can print out action figures, but like I said, they tend to have a lot of layers. So you really notice it. The ultraviolet 3D printers I hear smell terrible. Yeah. That's what I hear also, because you're basically just using IV or UV light. Sorry, UV light to you know cause the curing to happen. And most of the time, if you're using one of those printers, you're going to want to use it in an open area, because they do have a lot of smell to it. Yeah, UV activated resin. Oh, thanks, White Rabbit. We're actually going to be sending everybody over to you. I've got your the expert pinned up over there, so we'll be everybody will be heading over and seeing you. I don't have the ability until I get monetized to like dump everybody in there. Once I get monetized, damn it, I will do it. I'll be able to dump people where I want to. But yeah, everybody, what we're going to do is here in we're gonna all swing by and go say hi to the expert. So that's where I'm going, and you're welcome to come by and holler at the chat. And I sent a little message to Caitlin. She might still be with the kiddos, so we'll check it out. Oh, that's cool. Got it. She's sleepy. She's sleepy. She can't talk tonight. Very cool. Let that young lady get some rest. Let that young lady get some rest. All right, everybody. You guys have a wonderful evening. Make sure to go check out the expert and go tell them that you rated for me. Appreciate it. With that, everybody, until next time, which is going to be awesome. It's going to be absolutely awesome next time. Tomorrow night, I will be doing a stream. Don't forget to hit that like and make sure that you're subscribed. Peace, y'all.